Yesterday, the Public Investment Corporation, or the PIC, adjourned to meet again on the 26th of February, listening to suspended Assistant Portfolio Manager Victor Seanie's testimony. The Commission heard that the PIC senior management went ahead and invested in the IO deal despite his advice that the valuations were too high and not a prudent investment. He said this seemed to be because of the perceived personal relationship between former Iqbal Surve and Dan Matjila. In his opening words, he told the Commission that when he joined the PIC, he understood its mandate to be to generate a return on behalf of its clients and to contribute to the developmental goals of South Africa. Has the organization lived up to these goals? Well, with us to reflect on what has transpired so far, we're joined in studio by Bantu Holomisa. He, of course, is one of those who raised concerns, including writing a letter to President Ramaphosa about the alleged wrongdoing at the PIC. So good to see you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much.
So, I mean, are you happy so far with what's been... I mean, nobody can be happy with what's come out, but I mean, are you satisfied with these things finally coming to light at the inquiry?
I think we were correct in reporting the matter to the President after we read nauseating reports from the media that all was not well at PIC. Now we are beginning to see that indeed there is a prima facie evidence which point to wrongdoing. However, the inquiry was started very late. You will recall that it was supposed to have been started in October last year. But I hope that they will be given an extension. They cannot be expected to submit an interim report in February as it was originally planned. But so far, I think the workers, the employees of the PIC who leaked this information from 2 to 3 years ago have got a freedom now to speak, especially that the CEO is no longer there.
Yeah.
And I hope that the inquiry will go deep and investigate all these allegations.
What have been your highlights? I mean, it started last week. We've seen staff members talking, an executive from the company. We've seen a former board member from the Lady Advisory Services, a forensic investigations. What has stood out for you?
Well, I think the IO Technologies transaction is still going to dominate a lot, especially that there is a report which suggests that approval was not sent to the relevant committees, but it was signed before it was referred to the evaluation committee. So that on its own shows that if you know people at the highest level, you'll get what you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the IO deal, and Victor Seanie made very, very serious allegations yesterday. And it seems that the approach to be a common modus operandi by most of the people in power at state institutions when it comes to making business deals.
Well, it's true because some people are using their political connections to get whatever they want. And we've seen this in state departments, in SOEs, now that PIC, where you will find that the money is allocated, circulated among a selected few, a certain clique which has got a right to go and get money whenever they want. Even if they want to buy shares, they don't go to other commercial banks like other people, but they just go and get money from the PIC. But when you engage other asset managers, they tell you that it's only circulating around few individuals.
Yeah. You know, again, let's have a look at what the board member who came. It was Claudia Manning. She resigned because she didn't approve of the new chair, Deputy Finance Mondli Gungubele, the Minister, CEO Dan Matjila, disagreeing with the newly appointed chairperson on how the board handled corruption into Matjila. So, you know, there's so many dimensions to all of this. What did you make of what she had to say?
Firstly, that board should have been disbanded long time ago and appoint an interim board. This is where you would then have a fair and proper inquiry. This current board is contaminated. look at the serious allegations against one of the board members who is in contact with one of the people who are assisting the CEO, former CEO, in paying monies to various individuals. I think that board, this board, should not appoint, for instance, like they said yesterday, that they are going to appoint an inquiry to investigate the allegations against them. We cannot expect them to investigate themselves. There is an inquiry at PIC. Let the board, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, investigate all these serious allegations. Now, to come up with a parallel structure or parallel processes, this should be stopped by the judge.
I mean, I'm trying to get my head around also the story of Iqbal Surve, who we're talking, what?
4.5 billion?
And he at the same time says he can't pay it, but he's extracting from the very same organization. How is this working?
Well, let the inquiry come up with some finding on that. But more importantly, we need to get a list of people who got monies under the unlisted transaction.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is. And the sooner the commission focus on those areas, then we will know to what extent has this fund been looted. And we may have to also seriously consider, do we need to invest this pension on PIC? Why must we be fixated to invest pensions funds only on PIC? What about other avenues?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have seen here that politicians are looting this fund.
Yeah. You know, the other issue is we see this happening, but if it wasn't for whistleblowers and if it wasn't for those that are speaking out, I mean, yourself being one of the most vocal, we saw Victor Seanie being suspended last week. And he bemoaned the bad light that his suspension may have on his name. You know, when we look at something like this, he obviously being more of a junior as opposed to senior management, what does this do to people saying, well, you know, let me just keep quiet and let this all happen and not speak out?
Well, unfortunately, again, the PIC board and management tended to want to start a parallel process. You will remember that Fidelis Madavu was suspended, and this other guy. At the peak of the Commission of Inquiry's work, what they should have done if they have got anything is to report this to the Commission. Instead, they try to target certain individuals from within. So it's clear that they are trying to do a cover-up. The solution here is to disband the PIC board. Let the chairperson, the current new chairperson, Minister Gungubele, appoint an interim board until the commission has finalized its work, because this board is affected. It's a contaminated board.
Yeah. I mean, we also saw before the commission in December that the PIC and its management appeared before SCOPA. Whatever happened there?
Well, unfortunately, I'm very sorry to say this. SCOPA is one of the toothless bodies. How many people have appeared in front of the SCOPA? What steps have been taken to punish or to retrieve the monies they have misused? So it's just a public relations to appear in front of the SCOPA. But this time around, both the BOSASA as well as the PIC inquiries, we have to insist that there must be a body established to make sure that the funds of the state are retrieved or collected back from those people.
The PIC happens to have a new chair now, the current Mondli Gungubele, who is the Deputy Finance Minister as well. Are you happy with his appointment? Do you think that is at least a positive step?
Mondli Gungubele did a very good job right from the time he ascended to this position. And I think he should be supported. but he needs to be careful about being seen to be manipulated by this contaminated board.
All right. I suppose we have got a little bit of time before the news, and we look at all of these commissions, inquiries. I don't even know. we all sort of being inundated with so many things that are happening right now. What do you make of this? Are you happy this is all finally coming to light? Or is it making you even more despondent to actually finally get to the bottom of the corruption that is happening in this country?
It's good that these inquiries are finally taking place, because the powers that be have been on a state of denial for many, many years. But what we need to insist on now is for the implementation of the findings. What I would have loved to see, for instance, in Bosasa and even on PIC inquiry, is for interim reports which would suggest that let the law enforcement agencies take action on some of the reports which have been proven that there is prima facie evidence. So in that way, it would not be a waste of time and money of taxpayers if there is a team composed of NPA, Hawks, Auditor General, so that if there is a transaction which needs to be attended, and you do it immediately, and then you establish special courts to deal with these matters, then that would serve as a deterrent for those who are hell-bent on looting the state resources. As
a political party that's going to be contesting these elections come May, what are you hoping to achieve? I mean, when we talk of your voting power?
Well, we hope that the people of South Africa will vote wisely and make sure that they talk to the people who are doing wrong things, that they will not be put in power in future. Let's hope that this culture of lionizing, celebrating wrongdoers will come to an end in this country. Because you see people who have been accused, who are frequenting the courts, being charged of corruption. But on the other hand, they are being lionized and praised as celebrities. This is a wrong culture. We need to change this culture a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, the reality is that we're having all of these commissions, and I get back to your previous answer as we wrap up the interview. We've got these commissions and all of these inquiries, and you speak about the MPA that need to do their job, but there always seems to be the problem. The MPA appears to be dropping the ball. Hopefully, under new leadership, things will change.
As long as the politicians have been allowed to usurp the powers of the accounting officers, right from the municipalities, state departments, up to NPA, we will never solve these problems. The sooner the politicians are told that their role is to do an oversight, but not to tell the NPA who must they arrest or they must charge, but to say, police, do your work, and then the police prepare docket, escalated to NPA, and the NPA must take their own decision. But if you are going to wait for a minister to instruct a policeman to go and arrest so-and-so, then we have lost the plot.
UDM leader Bantu Holomisa, thank you very much, weighing in on the PIC and the inquiry that's currently underway, what transpired at this commission, and some election nearing as well at the same time. Now remember that this PIC commission is set to adjourn and meet again on the 26th of February. It is 7 o'clock.